For a long time, pickup trucks were seen as pure workhorses, but that started to change in the last couple of decades, first in America and then in the rest of the world. And as for the rest of the world, Navara was one of the first pickups to offer a more comprehensive design, to offer a more comfortable pickup, as well as an extra dose of adventurous spirit. Today, most competitors do the same. So the fact that the current generation of Nissan's pickup has been around for almost a decade doesn't help at all. Thankfully, the new model is on the way, but with a little bit different approach. A little bit different compared to what we've been seeing in the last few generations. And that's why we wonder about the new 2024 Nissan Navara. Will it still be the perfect truck for your adventures? The moment Mitsubishi became a part of Renault-Nissan alliance, it became clear that the two Japanese manufacturers would use that leaders-follower principle in developing new models, for the sake of cost savings. And in the case of mid-size pickups, many expected Nissan's team of engineers to lead this development, but the board decided to go in another direction. So, the new Mitsubishi Triton is already there, with a completely new design, and instead of Nissan's good old F-Alpha platform, it rides on its own. So, this is a pretty clear indicator that Nissan will be a follower in this case, and that the next generation Navara is going to ride on Mitsubishi's platform. For most Navara fans, this means that there are a couple of aspects of the new pickup that seem quite questionable, and that's what we are going to take a look at in the next few paragraphs. Everybody who is into pickups knows that the previous generation Mitsubishi Triton and the outgoing Navara are notably different pickups, and the first thing that comes to mind is the size. The previous Mitsubishi Triton was a notably smaller vehicle, which featured a relatively modest 3,000mm wheelbase and a total length of up to 5,300mm. The Navara, on the other hand, is among the biggest models in the class, with a respectable 3,150mm wheelbase and up to 5,350mm in total length. That's one of the reasons why most of us didn't expect the new Navara to ride on Mitsubishi's platform, because going smaller in today's market is the wrong direction. But things became clear after the introduction of the next generation Triton. Despite still riding on the same platform, it grew in size notably. The new generation features a 3,130mm wheelbase and up to 5,350mm in total length, which seems large enough to meet Navara's standards. Therefore, we are pretty sure that Nissan's new pickup will feature the same or very similar proportions as the new Triton. Another problematic thing about this relationship between the two trucks is the suspension setup. As you may know, the Navara has always been praised for its ride quality. It was always considered much more than just a workhorse, and the biggest reason was the suspension, which included a multi-link independent setup on the rear end. The Triton, on the other hand, never had aspirations to be anything more than a pure utility vehicle, so we are pretty sure that many Navara fans were concerned with the fact that the new Triton kept good old leaf springs on the rear end. Despite the significantly upgraded double wishbone suspension at the front end, this would still mean a big downgrade in terms of the ride quality. The mitigating circumstance is that this is the first time that the two companies are developing their pickups together, so it's still unknown how many parts are about to be shared. If you look at other joint ventures in the segment, things vary a lot. On one hand, the Isuzu D-Max and Mazda BT50 share mechanics, but each comes with a completely different exterior design. On the other hand, if you look at the new Ford Ranger and VW Amarok, the relationship is so tight that VW's new pickup is pretty much a rebadged Ranger, with the same aesthetics, interior design, and more. In the case of Triton and Navara, we presume that Nissan would rather keep some of Navara's trademarks, and this particularly refers to the suspension. In other words, we expect Nissan engineers to upgrade Mitsubishi's chassis with a multi-link independent rear suspension and offer a higher level of comfort. Once again, it will all depend on the correlation between the two companies. As a company that follows in this particular case, it's up to Nissan and its willingness to spend more or less money on this aspect of development. Ideally, the Navara would come with completely different exterior parts, which would help it stand out from the crowd and continue the tradition of its attractive design solutions. Contrary to that, the most cost-effective would be a new Navara that's just a rebadged Triton, with just a few minor differences. But even though Mitsubishi did a great job with the new pickup, this is definitely the most unlikely scenario. The most likely scenario would be to see some of the exterior parts shared, along with the same overall shape. Main differences would happen at the front, where the new Navara would adopt the brand's latest language. We already saw a couple of rendering photos, and they show an aggressive front-end design with a massive grille that looks pretty close to one that's on the North American frontier, but also with C-shaped headlights that you would rather find on Nissan's crossovers. How close to reality these renders are actually, it's hard to say at this point. At the time it was launched, the current generation Navara was praised for its quality interior, and even today, 9 years later, it looks pretty decent. However, rivals updated their cabins significantly, so the new generation will certainly need big improvements to remain relevant in this aspect. What's good to know is that it's not easy to differentiate from the co-developer when it comes to interior design. And it's not just about saving production costs. Things are more complex than that, and in most cases, related models usually feature the same or very similar dashboard designs. The good thing is that the new Mitsubishi Triton looks way better than the previous generation. So the Navara also has the potential to look very nice from the inside. We expect to see an attractive design, with a mix of nice and durable materials, as well as a solid number of modern tech features, including a decently sized infotainment system and an instrument cluster that's analog but comes with a 7-inch information display. What we particularly like about the Triton's infotainment system is that it comes in a combination with a good number of physical controls, which is essential for seamless operation, in our humble opinion. As for the cab styles and seating configuration, the new Triton came with all 3 versions on offer: single, extended, and double cab. The outgoing Navara is available in extended and double cab styles, so it's still hard to say whether the next generation is about to come with 2 or 3 body styles on offer. This is another potentially big dilemma that comes with the platform switch, because Mitsubishi updated its 2.4-liter turbo diesel significantly for this redesign. With the new design, the engine is smoother and more efficient and now comes in 3 output variants, starting from the base model that puts out 110 kilowatts or 150 horsepower and 330 Newton-meter of max torque. The mid-range version of the engine puts out 135 kilowatts or 171 horsepower and 430 Newton-meter, while the most capable variant is now good for 150 kilowatt or 201 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. Also, the 6-speed automatic has been updated. On the other hand, the outgoing Navara uses Renault's 2.3-liter turbo diesel, which is available in 2 variants, either with 121 kilowatts or 141 kilowatts, or 163 or 190 if you prefer horsepower. And, generally, this engine does feel a little bit more refined and more modern, so it makes sense for Nissan to continue in the same way. But things are way more complex, so we need to take other mechanical parts into consideration as well, particularly the drivetrain. While Nissan's 7-speed automatic is definitely a better choice than Mitsubishi's 6-speed unit, things are completely the opposite when it comes to the 4-wheel drive system. In this aspect, Mitsubishi's system feels more flexible and therefore more capable. Simply said, it's still early to predict the exact setup for the next generation Navara. From what we know so far, the next generation Navara is still relatively far away from the launch. According to some sources, the new model is planned for the second half of 2024, while others even speculate about Nissan's plan to launch it in North America in the future. In any case, Australia and Asian countries will most likely remain the main markets, so there is a pretty familiar list of competitors. However, the names of rivals may be familiar, but the competition is much tougher than before. The Ranger and Amarok have just been redesigned, while the next generation of the absolute class leader, the Toyota Hilux, is also expected soon. Also, let's not forget the rugged and capable Isuzu D-Max and its more elegant sibling, the Mazda BT50, which are also relatively fresh on the market. What do you think about the next generation Nissan Navara? Can the Mitsubishi Triton-based design ensure better overall performance? Would you wait for the new Navara to come out, or rather buy the new Triton? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you next time.